And we're live. Bismillah.
Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Inshallah, everybody's well. Inshallah, what we'll do, as per Facebook etiquette, we'll wait a couple of minutes, bi'idhnillah. If you're on, feel free to like, comment, and share. I'll go ahead as well, and I'll start commenting and sharing the video, inshallah. Let's see who's on, inshallah. Inshallah, if you're on, feel free to like, comment, and share, my brothers and sisters, bi'idhnillah. Who do we have on? And let us know where you're watching from, inshallah. Barakallah, we've got about 7 viewers on. For those latecomers, inshallah, let us know where you're watching from, inshallah, where our audience is from. I can see Brother Ayman Majid is on. Ayman, assalamu alaikum. Barakallahu feek. Let us know where you're watching from, bro. Sydney, Melbourne, Victoria, Tasmania, Adelaide. Whoever else is watching, let us know, inshallah. Ayman, barakallahu feek. For those that don't know, we can use the first, 20-30 seconds as an educational tool. It's important, to understand, what we have at play in our capacity and try and utilize that and make it as efficient and as effective. When it comes to Facebook, tabarakallah, it wants to push out videos as much as possible to compete with other platforms like YouTube and the like. So when the algorithm finds that there's a lot of comments, engagement per se, like comment shares on a particular video, what it will do, the algorithm will push it further in people's news feeds. So that's probably why you'll hear people say, comment where you're from, say assalamu alaikum. So let us know where you're watching from, my brothers and sisters, and we'll get started bi'idhnillah in about 15 seconds. Feel free to comment and share. We've got Brother Bilal, who's watching as well. Barakallahu feek. Ayman, alhamdulillah. And so, inshallah, let's start. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Let's start off with a very simple exercise, guys. For those that have been in my workshops before, I won't take no for an answer. So let us know on the screen what number you see, right? So this is a number on the screen. Let me know what you see. What's this number, guys? Feel free to comment in the comment section. Let us know. We'll wait to see a couple of comments. What number do you see on the screen, inshallah? Let us know. For those that are watching, Barakallahu feek, Sister Pamela, watching from Melbourne. May Allah bless you. What number do we see on the screen? Feel free to comment, inshallah, on the screen. Let us know what number is it that you see. Don't be shy, guys. Amen. Tabarakallah. Number 9. Now, for maybe some viewers that have just jumped on now, what number do you see? What number do you see on the screen, my brothers and sisters? Let us know. Let us know what number you see on the screen. Just a nice, beautiful activity to get people in the momentum of commenting. This is what we want to see, my brothers and sisters. We want to see engagement. Engagement is important. So what number do we see, my brothers and sisters, on the screen? Let me know. Some people said before they saw a number 9. For those that have jumped on now, what is it that we see on the screen, inshallah? Awesome. Amen. 6. So before you said a 9 and now you said 6. So an activity goes like this, right? Tabarakallah, we see a 6 and we see a 9. So when we do this activity in front of people, usually what we do with this piece of paper, we lay it flat and then we'll ask someone opposite us what number they see. And then what they'll see, right, is a number 9 for those that are sitting opposite us. And what I'll see, right, from my perspective, is a 6. And so that goes to show us that there's a difference of opinion. And so inshallah, what we need to keep in mind, with us consuming a lot of content, there'll be difference of opinion. There'll be difference of opinion. Everyone will have different opinions of what they think may work. And this is all fine, right? So if you hear a particular topic, and you hear that someone's talking about things that might work for them, and then you hear the same topic and someone else looks at it from a different lens, this is perfectly fine, my brothers and sisters, and there'll be difference of opinions on many different things. And we need to learn as Muslims, we need to learn as humans to respect that. That is perfectly fine, inshallah. You will see something a particular way, I will see something a particular way, and this is perfectly fine, this is perfectly normal, and we need to start embracing this. It's not my way versus your way. This is, a lens that you see things from and a lens that I see things from. So we know that today's topic, inshallah, will be about, battling visual addictions and overcoming temptations. So we know, tabarakallah, now in the, in the context that we're in now, the COVID-19, pandemic that we're in lockdown, we're in quarantine, right? This is very difficult for us. Now, in particular, we'll be talking about visual addictions. This could be something as simple as gambling, right? And tabarakallah, if we do some research, very quick math, inshallah, let me do that quickly. They say on average as Australians, right, we gamble about $38 million per day. So as a nation, Australia gambles about $38 million per day. This is at clubs, pubs, casinos. Say that we've had the doors closed, for close to, 5 weeks, maybe even a bit more. So if you times that, by about, subhanAllah, 35, 37, 40 days, you're looking at about a $1.5 billion stimulus package already saved and given to its people. But that means that people haven't gambled on site. But what we may see is a surge of gambling online. So when we talk about visual addictions, right, this isn't just about pornography. It includes porn, it includes gambling, it includes gaming, right, and internet addiction. So I think it's very important for us as individuals that are faced with this context at the moment. I was asking a gentleman the other day, how many hours have you spent online, right? So when he done his little daily average checker on his app, he found just on his phone alone, he was sitting there for about 11 hours that particular day. That's not counting the time he was on the laptop working as well. He was doing his assignments. So for us, tabarakallah, that's a big number, 11 hours on one device between phone calls, SMS, emails, right? Social media platforms. This is a big number. Now, the more I'm involved in a particular environment, the more chance, things may seep in and things that may be unfavorable, my brothers and sisters. So say, for example, I'm stuck on my device or devices, for many hours in the day, especially now during COVID. I may not be out and about due to government restrictions or precautionary guidelines, right? If I used to be a gambler, right, and I used to go to the club, I used to go to the pub, I used to go to a casino, and now I can't do so, I might be tempted to jump online and gamble, right? And we've seen over, the span of time, we've seen now with technology, becoming stronger and better, and, internet becoming faster. We've seen with smartphones, it feels very real when I gamble and I'm gambling online. I can gamble faster, right, through an app, as opposed to having that physical money in my hand where I'm going to the pokie machine or I'm playing, blackjack, or, whatever other gambling, poker, and I've got the physical money in front of me. So if I've got $1,000 in my hand, physical money, and I go to the club, I go to the pub or to the casino, and I gamble that, after I've finished the money in my hand, I may not gamble anymore, or I might go to the ATM and, take more money out. But when I'm sitting at home online and I'm being bombarded with different advertisements for gambling, right, and it's just connected to my debit card, that $1,000 can go faster than what it would if I have it physically in my hand. So we need to be aware of these different traps out there, right? So some people might say, oh, alhamdulillah, we're not going to the clubs and pubs anymore and gambling $38 million a day collectively as a nation in Australia. But hold up, now that I'm on my smartphone, now I'm on my device, there could be a temptation that will seep in through there. So we need to be able to learn to overcome that. And the same would come as well, my brother and sister, if we're on our devices for a long period of time during COVID-19. It's very important to note as well, right? We live in a very hypersexualized society, and we've talked about this many times before for those that have listened in to my talks, right? Now, downloading apps, downloading games, listening to, even the Quran, for example, certain ads will pop up on different apps on YouTube. On the side, I'll see, marriage platform that wants to, sell me marriage, or, do this or do that. So I think it's important for us. We have to be prepared. Just like if I was to go into a business, my brother and sister, I'd be prepared. I would do a SWOT analysis. I would do a different analysis to make sure that I know, what strength I have, the weakness that, may present itself, opportunities and threats. And I'm going to make sure I go in, well equipped, well prepared. And the question we have to ask ourselves, right? Have we done that same research now that we've been locked up or cooped up at home or working from home? Have we done that? And most probably maybe not, because things happen so fast and change so fast. There were daily updates about COVID-19 and precautionary measures and what could be done, what couldn't be done, right? All of a sudden, we, saw a big change in our life, and that, resorted to us staying at home. And then, we've had to kind of learn, right, how to do things a touch differently. I know some people that had got some new jobs, usually they do training on site. They found that hard to do training off site now. Now that they can't do training at work, they've been learning. They didn't have that support by asking their colleagues or different employees, how to help them. So now, they found that hard, and we find the problem of procrastination. So, now I don't need to, report to my boss's cubicle, or my boss's, office isn't in front of me. So I can, go to the kitchen, make myself a coffee. I can go outside, sit in the garden for a bit. I can go again to the kitchen. I can go eat. I can jump on the lounge, chuck on the TV, watch a show on Netflix. And then, okay, it only takes me half an hour, 2 hours to do my work out of 8 hours. Now I've, procrastinated. Procrastination, my brothers and sisters, it's a big problem, right? Because for us to overcome our addictions, for us to overcome temptations, one of the things that we should be doing is being productive. And procrastination is the opposite of that. So if I'm a productive Muslim, or a productive Muslimah, if I'm a productive individual that's working, right, that's keeping my mind busy, it's going to be very hard for, things to seep in, the haram to seep in, because I'm productive. I don't have time of the day to look left or to look right. So inshallah, just to go back, inshallah, for whoever's watching, feel free to comment. If you have any questions, inshallah, I'll answer them to the best of my ability. We've got a few new watchers. We've got Usaid, Abu Tariq, Noor Saraya, Faraz, Ayman Fahmi. Feel free, my brothers and sisters, at any point in time to comment, and inshallah, I'll do my best to answer along the way, and keep that engagement happening. So with temptations, my brothers and sisters, we have to be very careful. We have to be very smart. We have to be very strategic, right? And we need to keep an open mind. We think sometimes that, it's only one thing that I must focus on that will help me overcome my temptation, or help me overcome an addiction. But it's not, my brothers and sisters. We have to start looking at things. And that's why I did the activity in the beginning of the 6 and the 9, right? So for those latecomers, we done an activity. We asked the people what this number was when they looked at it. So for them, at one point in time, it looked like a 9. And then later on, at another point in time, it looked like a 6, right? So there's a difference of looking at something. For you and I, my brother and sister, we can't just look at our problems and find one solution. We're going to have to come up with a holistic solution, right? Which we can drip feed in. So as a registered counselor, whether you see a psychologist, whether you see a professional, right? We have to come up with a holistic solution for each individual person, and each client, is going to be different. So it's very important for us to understand, the different problems you may be facing, all the different factors around you, your lifestyle, and, come up with a perfect, or close to perfect, or, a holistic program that will help you as an individual reform, become a better person, become resilient. And so this is important for us when we look at overcoming temptations, when we look at overcoming addictions. We can't just look at things as black and white. We can't just look at it as simple, okay, I'll do one thing or this, and if I didn't do that, okay, or if I only did one thing, that's it. I can't become a better person. No, we can become better people. We will become better people, right? We just need to keep pushing. We need to keep pushing. We need to become more resilient, and we're going to fall, my brothers and sisters. We are going to fall. But as a baby falls, when they're learning how to walk, they crawl, they jump up on their feet, right? Then what happens? They will fall down. The baby doesn't stay on the floor, my brothers and sisters. The baby gets back up, and it will take a step or two. It will try and find its balance. It will fall again. And so that will be the situation for you and I. So it's very important, my brother and sister. It's very important for us to have this mindset when we're tackling addictions, when we're tackling temptations, right? And so I wanted to share some things that we can do, inshallah, that will help us, right? That will help us overcome problems in our lives, right? And one of the things, my brothers and sisters, it's identifying obstacles. We need to identify the obstacles in our way. We need to identify the obstacles in our way. What do I mean by that? So for example, I might have come out from Jahiliyyah. I might be a person that wants to make sincere tawbah to Allah Azza wa Jal. I really want to get a hold of my life. So I might tell myself, you know what? Hanging out with these kind of people, right? Maybe a bad influence, a bad group of friends, is an obstacle for me to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. And we find that this is a problem. This is a major problem when we sit down and we ask brothers, when we sit down and we ask different people, tell me about your problems. We find out that a lot of the time the environment isn't good, right? They might have a toxic environment around them. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be the wider family. So it's very important for us to understand what our obstacles are, and once we see, what an obstacle is, once we've identified what the obstacle is, right, then we need to start writing this down. So some of us, we might identify what the obstacle is. We say we're going to change, but if nothing changes, nothing changes. So it's very important to write this down, visualize it, and see it in front of you. And that way then you can start working towards a plan to becoming a better individual, to leaving that part of your life in the past, right? And I can see, tabarakallah, we've got, Sheikh Bilal Danoon that's watching, tabarakallah, as Abu Anwar, may Allah bless you. We've also got Brother Whitlam watching, Brother Osama. Feel free to comment, my brothers, let us know, where you're watching from. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Imagine when it comes to marriage, for example, right? And there's a problem between the husband and the wife. We need to make sure that, okay, what is an obstacle that keeps allowing us to fall back and fall back and fall back into this same circle, into this same mess? So sometimes, a mediator or a counselor, right, will sit down with them and help them identify what may be a problem. And then once you identify that problem, then you need to start putting things in place to start working towards that. We need to start becoming specific. We need to find exactly what that problem may be, right? And then it's important, my brothers and sisters, to move on and decide to make a change. So it's important, we might say, you know what, okay, there is a problem. I've identified an obstacle. I've identified a problem that's in my life that's making me relapse, that's making me go back, and not allowing me to move fast in a forward direction. So, okay, now I need to decide that I'm going to change. So I need to make that intention. I need to make that intention, and I need to follow that with an action. And so that's where a professional might come in and help you. And I think it's important for us as Muslims, to be honest with ourselves. It's fine, my brothers and sisters, to sit down with a professional. It's fine, my brothers and sisters, to reach out. Just like if I have a problem, for those that know me, my friends, I'm not really a person that likes to get my hands dirty, so to speak, right? I probably, when people shake my hand, I've got the most smoothest hands. So I'm more like to work, with my mind than with my hands personally, right? But, if I have a problem, for example, an electrical problem, a plumbing problem, right? I'm not going to just try and, okay, you know what, leave it with me. I'll fix it up. I'll know what to do. When I don't, I might cause more harm than good. So what I'll do, I'll call a professional. If I've got a problem with my plumbing, I'll call a plumber, right? If I've got a problem with my electrical, right, I'll call an electrician. And I think this is just like a very basic example, right? If I'm sick, right, who am I going to go to? Am I going to go to a plumber? Am I going to go to a doctor? The plumber's not going to be able to help me, my brothers and sisters, if I'm sick, right? So it's important that I go to the right person, and it's important that I seek professional help. That's very important, my brothers and sisters, that we do this. We seek the professional help. So, my brothers and sisters, let's be from those people, that do so. Let's make sure that we're from those people that seek professional help, and we're not arrogant. We're not arrogant about this, right? So, inshallah, let's be from those people. What else can we do? What else can we do to help us overcome temptations, right? We need to put a plan in place, right? We need to put a plan in place. It's very important, my brothers and sisters, right? If we fail to plan, we plan to fail. If we fail to plan, my brothers and sisters, we plan to fail. So it's important as a Muslim that I put a plan in place. And it doesn't need to be, a very in-depth analysis. It doesn't need to be a thesis, how am I going to change my personal life? But what I should do is I should reach out to someone that can help me put a plan in place. Once again, a professional could be someone. If it's not a professional in the beginning, right, reach out maybe to a group of trusted people around you, right? A team of people. It could be an accountability partner. You might have a friend that, or a family member or someone in the community that you respect, that, doesn't come from a position of judgment, that's compassionate, that's kind. And you speak to them, right? You speak to them and you tell them, listen, this is the problem that I'm going through and I don't have all the solutions. And guess what, my brother and sister? That's perfectly fine. No one has all the solutions. This is the reality. This is a fact. And I find that, tying this into the visual world, Dean Mousad on Facebook might portray himself to be the best person ever, but Dean's got shortcomings. And the same as our, respected mashayikh, and the same as, professionals, and the same as our family members. Everyone has shortcomings, but you won't see me post my shortcomings on social media, right? Just like for those people that love to take selfies, right? You can ask them, how many times do you take a photo before you get that perfect photo up? And then you're putting that filter, and then you're making sure that you're trying to make sure everything is nice and la-di-da, right? We don't tend to put the bad photos up on social media. We put the best, right? We portray ourselves to be, right, people that don't make mistakes. But the reality is, my brothers and sisters, we make plenty of mistakes, and that's perfectly fine, right? So be from those people that acknowledges that. Be from those people that acknowledges that they make mistakes, right? And when we acknowledge that, my brothers and sisters, when we acknowledge that we are people that makes mistakes, then we'll be able to move forward, right, and make a change. And we'll decide to make a change, right? We would have identified our obstacles, right? And feel free to take notes. Feel free to take notes. And inshallah, at the end of this, I'll post a few pointers on what we can do to help overcome temptation, right? And so it's important when we understand all of this, then what's important for me, it's important to have self-discipline and consistency in my work. So, we were talking, a brother and I were talking today, and, inshallah, for those that know Mr. Omar Mousad, tabarakallah, he's been someone that's worked in the da'wah for many years. We were trying to figure out, the brother and I, how many years, Mr. Omar Mousad, has been working in the da'wah for. If anybody online that's watching this, we've got tabarakallah about 17 people watching. If you know Mr. Omar Mousad, please comment in the comment section, yes, while I have a sip of water. It's actually 2 sips of water. So if you know Mr. Omar Mousad, tabarakallah, I've only known him in recent years. He is now the principal of Al-Hikmah College in Lakemba. So, he, tabarakallah, something that, the brother mentioned, and, we mentioned with people like, Sheikh Abdul Salam, for example, right? Or, the many people that work in the community over the last 10, 15, 20 years, they, tabarakallah, they've been people that are consistent. Tabarakallah, they may have moved from one organization to another organization to another organization, which is perfectly fine. As we talked about before, there's difference of opinion, and that's no problem at all, right? So they are people that are consistent. So you and I, my brother and sister, on our journey to overcoming temptation, right? We have to be consistent. We have to be consistent with our action plan. So once I've made that action plan, once I've decided that I'm going to change, once I've looked at what my obstacles are, once I've put a plan in place, then now I need to implement self-discipline, and I need to implement being consistent. And this, tabarakallah, from an Islamic standpoint, right, both of these things are highly rewarded with Jannah. We know, per the hadith of the Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the consistent deed. This is the most beloved deed in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal, even if it's small. So, start off with something small in your life, my brother and sister. If you have a particular temptation, and you are sinning and you are committing sin, and it's compounding sin, and it's perpetual, and it's happening on a regular basis, make the intention, and minimize it over the span of time, and make the intention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes that sin completely from you. And be consistent with wiping out that sin with a good deed, right? What more do we want as Muslims? When we commit a sin, which we will, because we are not perfect, right? We will make a mistake. So wipe it out consistently with a good deed. This is important, right? And this is me talking from a personal experience. Someone, alhamdulillah, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided back to Islam back in 2013, someone who was not practicing whatsoever, right? Since 2015, with a few organizations that I'm a part of, we're not doing the biggest amount of work. There are a lot of great organizations. There's a lot of great people, tabarakallah, in the public space and the private space that I believe are doing way more work than us. But try as much as you can, my brother and sister, to be consistent. Try and have that self-discipline. It's not hard. It's not easy, sorry. It's not easy to be disciplined, but we can do it. We can do it if we become resilient, if we have a positive mindset, if we're people that really want to change. And it's fine when we really want to change, we make that intention and we do good and we make a mistake, not a problem. Get back up just like the child gets back up, my brother and sister. Just like the brother, right? Just like the brother falls down, the baby falls down, the baby girl falls down, and they get back up. You and I, we must get back up when we make a mistake. Temptations will come and temptations will go, and we'll have some strong days and we'll have some bad days, my brothers and sisters. And it's very important that we have, right, that understanding. It's important that we know the playing field, right? Because the shaitan will present himself, right, in many different ways. And so we must be prepared, right? And then moving on, what else can we do to change, right? So we've talked about, deciding to change. We've talked about that, right? We've talked about writing it down, right? We've also talked about identifying the obstacles. We've also talked about, finding out who your team members are, whether it's an accountability partner or if it's a professional, right? It's important, once again, to be disciplined and consistent. This is very important. Obviously, without saying, we must make sure that we make continuous dua. We must make so much dua, my brother and sister. Dua is, tabarakallah, it's something that a Muslim must not leave out in their life, right? As humans, say for example, right now, with the COVID-19, people have called upon, for example, the government by going and seeking the JobKeeper payment or different stimulus packages, etc., etc. So we've gone out, right? And sometimes we've had to stay hours and hours on end. Sometimes we've lined up and they've closed, so we have to go again tomorrow. So just like we are persistent, just like we're consistent in trying to get, the help that we need, right? By following the asbab, by going through, it's important also that we do this to the Lord of the world. We do this to Allah Azza wa Jal. We call upon Allah day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. We must continuously call, my brothers and sisters. Allah Azza wa Jal's doors are open for us at all times. So it's important, inshallah, that we note this stuff down. Inshallah, I'll be also commenting these very short points, bi'idhnillah, in the comment section. For those that are watching now, tabarakallah, please let us know if you have any questions. We see Noor, barakallah fiqh, has commented. We've got Brother Shu'aib in there. Something as well, right? I don't want to talk too much about, visual addictions, especially porn, because we've done plenty of talks about that. But for us, my brothers and sisters, right, who may be watching online, who may be addicted, right, to games. We've seen a lot of people now, they've had free time, so they've bought games that they haven't been able to play. They've jumped on Netflix and watched many different seasons and episodes within a day or two. And I'm talking about, binging on different series. We've seen people jumping on games. People, unfortunately, are gambling online now because they're cooped up at home and can't go to the clubs and the casinos. We've seen porn companies, without mentioning names, from the biggest of them that are giving platinum, right? That are giving platinum unlimited access to premium versions, right? During this quarantine time, during these times of self-isolation, right? So what can we do if we're affected by any of these, temptations? What can we do, right? What can we do? And so I wanted to touch upon also a few points for you and I. If the online audience don't mind, I'll just have another sip, inshallah. So inshallah, a tip, right, for you and I, amongst many tips, inshallah, that we'll talk about, is implementing what you learn. So you're going to watch a lot of different talks. Tabarakallah, we've got people watching today, and I'm sure after today's talk, there's going to be a few other people that are going to jump on other Zoom talks, on other online talks, and they're going to listen to different pieces of information. They might even be taking notes down, right? It's important to implement what you learn. Allahu Akbar. It sounds so simple. And believe it or not, the points that I will come up with, the tips, the tricks, the different advices, they are simple, my brothers. It just sometimes it takes a bit of discipline, it takes a bit of consistency, right? But once we start implementing this stuff, we will find big changes in our personal life. So whatever notes you may be taking down, whatever talks, right, you might be listening to online, right? And we are drowning in information. Tabarakallah, may Allah reward all the different organizations, individuals that are taking it upon themselves, to try and make an impact on social media. but we are drowning in information. Tabarakallah, there's information, there's lectures, there's talks that's happening, panels, you know, every single minute of the day all around the world. But it's important, right, that we take the quality, right, and we implement what we learn. So this can be point number one, inshallah. Implement what you learn. So whatever you take from today, whatever you take from any talk, what I always like to say to myself, right, is, you know, take one point out of every talk. Take one point out of every talk and try and implement that. This is the most important thing, my brother and sister, implementing what we learn. We could have all the Quran memorized, and if we don't implement it, then we know what's going to happen to that individual that memorizes the Quran but doesn't do by it, right? So sometimes we think that if we learn the whole Quran, tabarakallah, as said, guaranteed one-way ticket to Jannah. This is not the case if we haven't implemented it. So make sure, my brother and sister, when it comes to the knowledge that you're taking, whether it comes to, you know, any tips or tricks that you're writing down, make sure you implement what you learn. Point number two, have a firm decision on this. So be firm in making that plan and be firm on the decision. So if you're a person that drinks alcohol, gambles, does drugs, watches pornography, gambles, does gaming, and you make the intention that you want to stop, be firm on that intention. Reach out to the professionals, reach out to the right people. There's nothing wrong with that. Like the Arabs say, you know, there's nothing embarrassing about this. I understand it might be embarrassing, but we're all brothers and sisters in Islam, and we're here to help one another. We're not here to judge each other. We're not here to be, you know, harsh. You know, this is not our role as professionals, right? Our roles as professionals, you know, is to be the guide on the side, is to be a support person, a person that can help the individual, you know, become a better version of themselves, right? Point number three, my brothers, inshallah, and sisters, be willing to sacrifice, right? I've mentioned this a few times before. You know, when I first came on the Deen, you know, the boys would call me every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night religiously, because that's when we used to go out. You may not be doing haram. You might be just going out. You might want to go out to Sydney's and Burwood. You might want to go out for a feed in the city. You're wasting time procrastinating. One thing turns to another thing. So when I made that intention to change, I told myself, right, because I knew what my obstacles were just in the beginning when we were talking about it, I had to make that change. I had to make that sacrifice. So I told myself and I told the boys, I told them, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if you call me, I won't pick up. And like clockwork, they would call, they would message, they would call. Sure, what's happening? Where are you? Are you ready? Are you not? What's happening? And I would just see the message and I'd ignore it. I'd ignore it completely. And they would say, we see you, you know, we've seen that you've seen our message. We're coming to pick you up. No, you have to be willing to sacrifice. And it's not an easy feat, but, you know, having that intention, following it up, you know, implementing what you want, being firm on your decision and being willing to sacrifice, you will start seeing the fruits of this. It may be hard at first, and that's perfectly fine, my brother and sister. It's fine, right? When I go to school and I don't have any knowledge and I sit an exam perhaps and I haven't studied, I will find it hard. But then as I memorize, as I study, right, the exams will get easier and easier. And the same as this, in the beginning, that step might be very hard. But if you've got a good supportive network around you that can help you overcome these temptations, overcome your addictions, inshallah, you'll find that with that supportive network, with that team around you, professionals, they'll help you become the best of people, right? Another point I wanted for us to showcase is avoiding isolation. Now, this is something that may be hard now, right? And alhamdulillah, I think when it happened straight away, this scenario, the COVID-19 scenario, you know, we didn't have too many options because things happened straight away. So we found it, you know, very hard because all of a sudden we were used to go to work and now bang, I'm stuck at home. But tabarakallah, now I think some people have started, you know, going for walks, right? Daily walks, whether it's with their spouse or with their child, right? So avoid isolation. And this will help with the theme of this talk as well, which is the visual addictions. So if I'm watching, content that I shouldn't be watching, right? If I'm gambling online, if I'm stuck on the devices, internet addiction, right? Or if I'm gaming, if I avoid isolation, there's less chance of me doing this. So make sure you're productive. Make sure that you try and start reading books. I know TAFE have started offering some free courses, very short, simple courses online. Might take you an hour, might take you a day, might take you a week. That's fine. If you're someone that always wanted to write, start writing, journal, start journaling, right? If you wanted to start a small business at home, could be something so simple, right? If you wanted to start gardening, my wife, tabarakallah, she's now gardening at home. So try as much as you can to avoid isolation. Sometimes we might look at things from a negative perspective. Sometimes we look at things and we'll say, you know what, I can't. But sometimes we just need to switch the mindset. It may be hard in the beginning, but slowly we'll stop looking at the problems and we'll start searching for solutions. Or if we start identifying a problem, automatically I'll come up with a solution. And that's what we want. We want us to evolve. We want us to become resilient. We want us to grow. And this is what collectively, as Muslims, as individuals, as family members, as a society, this is what we want. We want to grow, right? Also, something that we can do, which I've mentioned before, that can help with this COVID-19 scenario, join an organization, right? I don't want to give a plug-in, to the organization that I'm a part of, but for example, National Zakat Foundation, right? They're an organization. They're a exemption to the precautionary guidelines. So as a charity, we are an essential service. So join a charity, join an organization. You'll find that, you'll be able to get out of the house. You'll be able to do some good in Ramadan. You might be used to doing, particular actions, a particular worship at nighttime, for example, right? Like Taraweeh. Now replace that with some charity work. And guess what? It's legal. Guess what? It will help you mentally. So these are a few small tips that we can implement, my brothers and sisters, inshallah. We've got tabarakallah about 14, 15 people online. So feel free to comment, bi'idhnillah. Let us know, if you have any other suggestions, inshallah. What can people do? What can people do during this tough time? Inshallah, let us know your thoughts. What have you done yourself? Let us know what you've done yourself over the last 5-6 weeks to help you navigate, through these different times that we're living in. So I don't know if we've still got brothers and sisters still watching. I see here it says Sister Miriam Adat is watching. We've got Brother Noor, Brother Shaib, Brother Bilal, Brother Whitlam, Brother Uthman Badr, Ayman, if you're still watching, Usaid. Let us know, inshallah, what's something that you guys have been doing during these times, to avoid temptations, to overcome those temptations. We might be tempted to procrastinate initially, and that procrastination, the more procrastination I may do because I don't have anything productive to do, it might take me down the rabbit's hole. It might take me down a place where I don't want to go, right? So what have we been doing, my brothers and sisters that are watching? What's a tip that you can give us that, has helped you, inshallah, overcome, temptations? We might be used to family dinners, for example, at iftar time, and then Taraweeh, and then, for example, going to get a feed and then going for tahajjud. What's something that we've been doing, inshallah, that's helped us, overcome temptation, overcome being lazy during Ramadan, seeing that a lot of the things that we usually do. Don't be a shy bunch. It's good to be shy, but this is not the time to be shy, inshallah. So let us know, inshallah. Let us know, what is something that you guys are doing. Somebody sent me a private message, Salam, is it okay to speak, to confess one's sins to someone who they think they can help? Some people put their best pics up, but they still look, subpar. Of course, my brother and sister. Of course, I think this is a brother. So yes, we can speak to someone professional We're not exposing our sins. We're not being arrogant about them. We're not comparing and saying, look what I've done, right? Tabarakallah, I'm so awesome because I've done all of this haram, or I'm engaging in all of this sin. What have you done? Is that all you've done? Do you know who I am? I've done so much. No, we're coming from a position of remorse. We're coming from a position maybe of regret. We're coming from a position that we want to become a better individual, right? And so it's important to reach out to those professionals that can help you with this, right? Because this can help the individual from relapsing. You may make the intention, but you may not know how to follow up the intention with action. So these professionals, these people that are trustworthy, they'll be able to help you, inshallah, in overcoming, right? These inclinations, or these temptations. And so this is important, my brother and sister, to reach out. Wallahi, this is not the time, my brothers and sisters, to be shy. Reach out to someone who's professional. Inshallah, next week I'll be on again on Friday to speak about, counseling, some general counseling tips, advice. I am a registered counselor, alhamdulillah, with the ACA, which is Australia's peak body when it comes to the counseling, to the counselors. So inshallah, we want to be able to be honest, have an open conversation, right? And be able to help one another. Wallahi, I had a brother from Sweden that messaged me a couple of nights ago, and subhanallah, he watched the video that I've done in London last year with the Ilm feed, and he said, subhanallah, brother, I've watched this video recently. I wanted to reach out for some support, some extra tips, advice, strategies. So it's important, some of this content that might go up, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video, tabarakallah, we live in a technological age, and so we must use this to our advantage. Just like, for example, a project that I'm a part of, Project Quran, and I always mention this without giving Project Quran a plug, brother Aladdin, who is the Amir of Project Quran, right? Imagine in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he wanted to send a messenger out to a different part, to a different land, he would have to send them on horseback. This might take days, it might take weeks, it might even take months to reach certain areas, right? Imagine the journey there and back, right? So imagine now just to spread a message, just to spread a letter, right? Now, tabarakallah, in the 21st century, in 2019, 2020, alhamdulillah, at my fingertips, we've got technology. Technology I can utilize to send the Quran to any part of the world. Now with Project Quran, it's focused on Australia and New Zealand. Just in the last 30 days, we've sent out over 1,000 Qurans. 1,000 people have ordered a Quran online on our website. We didn't have to send it on a horseback. We didn't have to send it on a caravan, on a camel, right? Through the winter and through the summer. Overnight, bang. Courier, pick up, drop off, sometimes within 24 hours, next day delivery. So this is the power of technology. This is the power of technology, and we have to utilize technology. We're using technology right now, right? We're using it now with Zoom, with Facebook, with YouTube, with all these different things for khair, for good. There's nothing wrong with this. Brother Ayman Fahmi, watching these lectures. So I think this is in response to National Zakat Foundation. What is something new that you have been doing to avoid temptation? Barakallah fiqh, Brother Ayman, right? Better than most, everyone's been shy. Don't be shy, my brothers and sisters, wallahi. It doesn't mean if you're watching this, we think that you're a person that's committing sin or, sin in regards to visual addictions. We're just having a conversation with one another, just like we would in a workshop style, just like we would in a meeting, right? We're doing the same here, so feel free to comment. Brother Jihad or Yusuf is watching as well. So inshallah, my brothers and sisters, please stay tuned. Please support the da'wah. National Zakat Foundation, tabarakallah, Allahu Akbar, has been on the forefront, in terms of local charity that's trying to do some great work, especially during the COVID talk. Brother Ismail David is the CEO. The rest of the team at National Zakat Foundation doing superb work. So support them. Support the da'wah. Think big, make it happen. Don't think twice. Everyone's got a skill set. Support each other. Don't be from those people, that see things one way. And I'll finish off with this example. you know, for those that came on late, you know, we were asking what number they saw on the screen. So we were asking, you know, for those that jumped on the beginning, that maybe for those that jumped on at the end that didn't see the beginning, we asked the online audience, you know, what number do they see on the screen? And, you know, after, you know, about 30 seconds, give or take, you know, they said they saw the letter 9, right? And then after that, we switched it and we asked them, you know, what number do you see now, right? And then some people later on that had come on late, they said the number 6. Now, this activity is something that we do. We've seen it probably on social media many times before. When you're sitting face to face to someone, you'll ask them, right? What number do you see perhaps, right? And then if they're sitting face to face, they'll see number 6. And for me, I'll see a number 9. So it's fine, my brothers and sisters, once again, wallahi, to have a difference of opinion. Wallahi, reading to the seerah of the companions, wallahi, they had difference of opinions, right? But they had the respect, they had the love of Allah and His Messenger. This is the difference between them and us. This is the difference between them and us, my brothers and sisters. So don't be from those people, like the scholars say, that's like a fly that, you know, searches for the impure product, right? It searches, we know what the flies search for. Let's not be from these people. If we want to give a feedback, if we want to give a nasiha, make sure the intention is pure, make sure it's good, right? And give it in a constructive way. Don't be from those people that just smash and have nothing else better to do, haram. These people, you know, are people that we feel sorry for. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them and to guide us. And inshallah, everybody found this, you know, video engaging and interesting. Feel free, for those that know me personally, to send me any feedback. Barakallahu feekum. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Keep supporting National Zakat Foundation. Keep supporting their content. Keep giving locally. You know, keep donating locally. Inshallah, I'll also be putting up in the comment section some of the tips that we talked about. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.